back at it. We got Vance today. You know what I mean? Everybody want to know what's going on with the fraud. There was so much money being taken. I don't see enough people being arrested. You know what I mean? The people want to know. The people want answers. So Vance, you know what I mean? He the fraud czar right now. So he on top of it. We about to watch a little video. I don't know if I'm gonna go through the whole video, but I want to see somewhat of what he got to say. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, comment, ring the bell. Tommy G TV, Tommy G Reacts. Holla at me. Let's get into this video.
It's Saturday in America. I'm Kayleigh McEnany. For months, we've covered rampant fraud plaguing American cities. And the most common response we hear from you, the audience, is that you want action. We hear you, and now we have answers. In moments, my exclusive interview with Vice President J.D. Vance, who is leading the White House anti-fraud task force. I asked him point blank, what is the federal government doing to hold these fraudsters accountable?
Good question. I want to know that, too. That's an excellent question. Let's see what he got to say.
I also asked how they plan to stop American taxpayer dollars, your money, from flowing overseas to terrorists. Now,
yeah, I want to know that answer, too. Stop pillaging the tax dollar.
As of today, the DOJ has secured multiple arrests across California and Minnesota. The task force also identified nearly $6.3 billion in suspected fraudulent government contracts and found 186,000 dead people who received SNAP benefits. But before the White House created this task force, it was independent journalists like Nick Shirley exposing the fraud in Minnesota. Now, that was across various programs within the state's Medicaid, autism, daycare services, and the grand total of fraud is estimated to be as high as $19 billion. And DHS sources tell Saturday in America that nearly $700 million was flown out of Minneapolis heading to Somalia. Over in Ohio, it's more of the same.
$700 million, man. Y'all letting these people come in here and ain't nobody been deported? $700 million fucking dollars? Like, when you see fraud like that, that's when I be thinking to myself, like, we shouldn't have to pay for college. You know what I mean? These numbers are staggering. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you really shouldn't have to pay for college if y'all letting foreigners steal billions and billions and billions of tax dollars. Find a place and then acting like everything is running normal. So it's like, come on, man, put the guidelines on that shit and then put that money where it needs to be, man. Educate the new next generation on AI, computer. Like, pay for people education. Pay for that shit. And stop paying for it if they don't get good grades. Soon as they grades drop, cut the money off. But the ones that's getting good grades, showing up, attendance, yo, pay for their education, man. Rich, poor, white, black, pay for their education.
A new audit revealing millions of dollars have been wasted on the state's home health care industry. And get this, Fox went to 2 buildings that housed more than 6 home health care businesses between them. And similar to Minnesota, DHS sources tell us that $136 million flew from Columbus to Somalia once again since 2023. Now, to put that into perspective, major airports like JFK and Dallas-Fort Worth only reported $3 to $4 million in bulk cash transfers per year. Saturday in America also unearthed an auditor report showing that Governor Gavin Newsom was warned of hospice fraud.
Both of these niggas is crooks. They crooks. They both understood. That's why Carmela picked Tim, because she knew she was gonna get that money real fast. That $1 billion that they raised so fast, now we know where she got it from.
Years ago. In a whistleblower report sounding the alarm to Governor Tim Walz that taxpayer money was being funneled to terrorism. Our team had the opportunity to take our original reporting straight to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, directly to the White House Task Force to Eliminate Fraud. Now, my exclusive interview with Vice President J.D. Vance. Vice President J.D. Vance, thank you so much for being here today.
Of course.
Based on some state expert estimates we have seen, going back to 2019, the California State Medi-Cal program alone could have cost taxpayers $146 billion with a B in fraud.
Yep.
That's an extraordinary number. Could this be, that's one program, one state, $1 trillion fraud epidemic in the country?
I mean, we don't really know how bad the fraud problem is because until Donald Trump became president, nobody actually took a serious look at it. It could be hundreds of billions of dollars. It could be $1 trillion. What we do know is that a lot of Americans are being taken advantage of. And whatever the scale is, it's big enough to really matter. And I think to make a significant hit, meaning American taxpayers could be paying less taxes. We could be saving more money. And I always try to remind people of this, Kaylee. There really are two costs and two victims. One is taxpayers getting fleeced, whether it's $100 billion or $1 trillion, that's a lot of money. But it's also, there are these programs that people in my family that I have benefited from that are meant to provide food to low-income kids, are meant to ensure that if you can't afford a doctor, you can still have access to medical care. Those programs are going to be destroyed by the fraudsters. So we're trying to protect American taxpayers. We're also trying to ensure that these critical programs are there for the American people. I think we're going to save a lot of money, but also do a lot of good.
Yeah, you could save $1 trillion. We'll see. The one thing I hear from viewers, from voters, is action. They want action. And they look at something like Minnesota, where the largest Medicaid fraudsters were prosecuted. One of those Medicaid fraudsters said, "We gonna party, bro," in a text message and a piece of evidence. That guy was let out on bond. They believe he's currently in Kenya. His co-defendant said, "Next pay period, bro, I will bill $50K. The judge just let him out with no jail time on a plea deal. What do you do with blue states like this?
Well, we just have to prosecute as much as we can, and we have to accept that, yes, there are going to be some blue states that fight us, but that doesn't mean we can't do our job. And for every person that slips through the cracks because of a crooked judge, we're going to get 10 people who actually go to prison or suffer real consequences.
Man, get the feds on the case so the states can't do nothing. Make it all federal charges so it don't matter. As soon as the state let them go, the feds outside picking them up. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Like where I come from, once you beat that state charge, the feds pick you right up. Like, nope, now you got federal charges. So it shouldn't matter if the states are letting them go or giving them a plea deal. The feds should be right there scooping them up like, nah, this federal.
For it. And we're also saving the American people a lot of money. You know, one of the things I've learned as vice president, I think the president, of course, appreciated this from his first term, is that you can have a rock solid case, you can have a fraudster, you can have them dead to rights, you can have them literally in a text message confessing to the crime, but sometimes you're still going to have corrupt judges. I think it drives home the importance of getting better judges.
Let's lock the judges up, yo. Like they said, nobody's above the law. Let's get it right. Like, y'all running out of time. And everybody, vote. We need to get out and vote. I want to see J.D. Vance right after Trump or Rubio, one of the two. Let's get it.
In the system, but also going after this stuff in a number of ways. So let me give you an example of this. We knew this was a problem going into this. We recognized that some of the blue state judges would not allow us to go after fraud as aggressively. So we're coming up with a number of legal theories that will allow us, under the system that we have, to prosecute people for fraud in jurisdictions where they're actually going to face justice. And we're working through that stuff right now. But we were aware this was going to be an issue. I promise we're on top of it. Yes, there are some people who are going to slip through the cracks, but we're going to get a lot of people, and that's going to be, I think, the action the American people deserve and want to see.
I believe him. I really believe that we're going to start seeing people go down, but they're just going to take their time and make sure that the people that they do go down, go down.
So arrests at the federal level, we'll be looking for that. When you look at this, it's hard to keep up with. You see fraud in Medicaid, SNAP, childcare, foreign student visas, student loans, COVID, and then I just read in the Wall Street Journal fraud related to a minute theater and music COVID tagline there that was worth $10 billion. How does the system allow this kind of rampant fraud?
Because no one ever looked at it. No one ever asked themselves, are the American people being fleeced? Nobody ever asked, for example, if you're paying hundreds of billions.
Because in these major cities where the fraud is really happening at, controlled by Democrats. And that's the number one reason why the Democrats is mad. The Democrats is mad because the Republicans came and stopped that money machine. And the Republicans was doing the same thing that Democrats are doing. The Democrats are throwing them right under the bus. Throw them right under the bus. Throw them under the bus. Throw them under the bus. I'm telling you, they throw them right under the bus. But that's why the fraud is what it is and where it is. Always pay attention where the fraud is. It's where Democrats can control the guidelines of all these programs and make sure ain't nobody looking. And then once you start looking, they call you racist, they call you a type of names, they try to cancel you, like they get vicious. Because it's all about the dollar, it's all about the bottom line. They want to line their pockets, they want to cipher the money out to certain people, then certain people donate to their campaigns, and that's how they stay in power. Pay attention.
Millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars to a Medicare provider. Is that provider actually giving services to people? Or let's say you have somebody who's claiming that they need help under Medicaid to provide care for an autistic child. Was anybody actually asking the question, do they have an autistic child? Do they even have a child at all who would need to benefit from these services? So the fact—
Because if you did ask that question, they'll hit you with the, how dare you? That's what they'll hit you with. How dare you ask that question? These people.
The fact that nobody ever asked the question is a scandal, but it's one of the things the President of the United States came in saying, we have to fix this, we have to change this, and we have started doing exactly that. People ask me all the time, Kaylee, is this a difficult job? Like, is it hard to find fraud? And the unfortunate answer is no, it's not. And there's so much of it. There's so much across so many different programs. You mentioned a lot of them just in the lead up to the question. What I try to think of myself when I think of goals is 2 years from now, I hope that it's hard for us to find the fraud. That's the ultimate measure of success because there is so much sitting on top that nobody's really looked at. We've changed that. We've got to keep on going after it.
I agree with him. I'm going to end the video right there. You know what I mean? I'm going to put the link of the video in the description. Y'all could go back, watch the full video. JD Vance talking about the fraud. Hopefully he on top of it. I do believe him. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Don't take my opinion. Don't take nobody else's opinion. Do your own research. Get your own information. Get your own facts. You know what I'm saying? And come up with your own thoughts and come up with your own thesis and keep paying attention to everything, man. It's real out here. It's real nasty. But like, share, subscribe, comment, holla at me. We coming with more videos. We're going to keep putting in this work. Once we started, we not going to stop. Holla at me. Tommy G out, Tommy G TV. We here now.